Hello everyone and welcome back to our channel. Today, we are embarking on a journey to explore one of the most isolated, enigmatic, and endlessly mysterious places on Earth, Easter Island. We will delve into the story of the enormous stone statues that have puzzled scientists, explorers, and historians for centuries. This story is specifically designed for Level 3 learners, which means I will be using richer vocabulary, more advanced historical context, and more complex sentence structures than you might find in our beginner or intermediate stories. Get comfortable, and let's begin. Far out in the vast expanse of the southeastern Pacific Ocean, thousands of miles from the nearest continent, lies a small, roughly triangular island. To understand the true isolation of this place, imagine a piece of land about the size of a modest city, surrounded by an ocean. The nearest inhabited landmass, Pitcairn Island, sits over 1,000 miles away, while mainland South America remains more than 2,000 miles to the east. This incredibly remote location is known today as Easter Island, a name given by Dutch explorers, or by its original Polynesian name, Rapa Nui. Despite its extraordinary geographical isolation, this windy island holds one of archaeology's most enduring mysteries. Scattered across its volcanic landscape are nearly 900 enormous stone statues, known to the local people as Moai. Some stand upright along the rugged coastline in long, silent rows. Others remain unfinished within the island's main volcanic quarry, as if the carvers suddenly dropped their tools and walked away. The Moai themselves are extraordinary feats of ancient engineering and artistry. Carved primarily from compressed volcanic ash known as tuff, most of these statues stand between 10 and 20 feet tall. The largest completed and erected Moai reaches about 32 feet and weighs an estimated 82 tons. Even more incredibly, some unfinished statues attached to the bedrock in the quarry would have stood considerably taller. The most famous incomplete giant measures nearly 70 feet in length, comparable to a modern 6-story building. Each Moai features elongated, stylized characteristics that make them instantly recognizable. They possess prominent chins, rectangular ears, deep-set eyes beneath heavy brows, and a serene, contemplative expression. Originally, many statues were even more striking. Some were fitted with coral eyes and dark obsidian pupils, making them appear alive. Others were crowned with massive red stone cylinders called pukao, representing traditional top knots of hair. These red stones were quarried in another part of the island, making construction more complex. Polynesian seafarers first settled Rapa Nui sometime between 800 and 1200 AD. They arrived in sophisticated double-hulled sailing canoes after navigating thousands of miles of open ocean. They had no compasses, no metal, and certainly no GPS. Instead, they relied on careful observation of the stars, ocean swells, cloud formations, and seasonal bird migration patterns. Finding such a small island in such a huge ocean was a truly remarkable ancient navigational achievement. When they arrived, the island was a lush, subtropical environment covered in dense forests of giant palm trees. The isolated Polynesian community gradually developed a complex and religious society organized around family clans and chiefs. Over time, these clans competed to construct increasingly impressive moai. These statues were not decorative artwork. Archaeological evidence and oral histories suggest they were considered vessels containing mana, a sacred spiritual power. The islanders believed the statues housed the spirits of important deified ancestors. Completed moai were carefully placed upon large rectangular stone platforms called ahu, which also served as ancestral tombs. Interestingly, most statues were positioned facing inward toward the island's settlements, with their backs to the sea. This supports the theory that they served a protective function. They watched over the living community, protecting agriculture and prosperity rather than serving as navigational markers. Here begins the central mystery. How did a small Polynesian population, working without wheels, draft animals, or metal tools, manage to carve, transport, and erect hundreds of multi-ton stone statues? Some Moai traveled more than 11 miles across difficult terrain from the volcanic quarry to ceremonial platforms around the island. For decades, researchers proposed different explanations. Early explorers heard local oral traditions saying that the statues had literally walked to their final positions, But many Western scientists dismiss this as imaginative folklore. Instead, they suggested that the islanders used wooden sledges and rolling logs, with large teams pulling heavy ropes across difficult ground. However, experimental archaeology produced a fascinating twist. In 2012, researchers Terry Hunt and Carl Lipo tested whether the ancient walking tradition might reflect a real engineering method. Using a scaled replica about 10 feet tall and weighing 5 tons, they discovered that a team of approximately 18 people could move the statue by attaching 3 strong ropes to its head and sides. By pulling in an alternating rhythm, the team could rock the statue from side to side and gradually move it forward. In effect, they made the statue walk. This discovery was significant because it suggested that the ancient Rapa Nui oral tradition may have preserved a genuine technical memory. Supporting the theory, researchers noted that many completed moai have a rounded, forward-leaning base. This center of gravity would make rhythmic rocking more efficient than attempting to slide a flat-bottomed statue across rough ground. Yet, even with an explanation for transportation, a deeper mystery remains. Around the late 16th or early 17th century, large-scale moai construction apparently stopped. The quarry was abandoned, leaving many statues unfinished. When European explorers arrived in the 18th century, they encountered a population that had declined greatly from earlier levels. This apparent societal collapse has produced competing theories. One famous explanation, popularized by researcher and author Jared Diamond, is known as the ecocide theory. According to this view, competition encouraged the construction of increasingly ambitious statues. The population gradually deforested the island, removing giant palm trees needed for moving statues, building canoes, constructing homes, and supporting agriculture. Deforestation, the theory suggests, caused soil erosion, reduced agricultural productivity, resource scarcity, internal conflict, and population decline. However, later archaeological, botanical, and historical research has challenged the idea that internal environmental destruction was the only or main cause. Scientists including Terry Hunt and Carl Lipo have argued that European contact itself may have played a much larger role. Foreign diseases, including smallpox and tuberculosis, were introduced to the isolated population, which had no natural immunity to them. Historical records also show that European and South American slave raids were brutal. In the 1860s, Peruvian slave ships captured and forcibly removed a portion of the remaining population to work in guano mines. Among those taken were leaders, priests, and people who possessed important traditional knowledge. This external violence severely damaged the island's cultural continuity. Another theory focuses on rats. The Pacific rat may have arrived as an unintended passenger aboard the original Polynesian settlement canoes. With few natural predators, rats could multiply and consume many palm seeds before they could germinate. In this way, the rats may have contributed to the decline of the forest independently of human damage. Whatever combination of ecological, biological, and social pressures occurred, Rapa Nui society eventually changed. As confidence in the protective power of the moai weakened, a new belief system emerged, the Birdman cult. Based at the ceremonial village of Rongorongo, this religion centered on a dangerous annual competition. Young warriors representing different clans descended steep sea cliffs, crossed shark-filled waters to a small offshore islet, and tried to return with the first egg laid by a sooty tern. The chief of the winning warriors' clan became the Birdman and gained sacred status and control over resources for the following year. This transformation shows how the society adapted to a changing world. Easter Island also contains another unresolved mystery, Rongorongo. This unique system of glyphs was carved into wooden tablets and has never been securely deciphered. Researchers have debated whether it represents a true written language, a symbolic memory aid, or something else. The text uses a boustrophedon style, meaning the reader changes direction from one line to the next, sometimes turning the tablet around. Because only a small number of tablets survived and no confirmed bilingual key exists, the true meaning of Rongorongo may remain unknown. Today, Easter Island is governed by Chile and remains inhabited by descendants of the original Rapa Nui population. Modern islanders maintain a strong connection to their ancestral heritage, and work to preserve their language, traditional arts, and cultural identity. Tourism attracts visitors who want to see the Moai, but increased attention also creates concerns about preservation, especially because of coastal erosion, climate change, and pressure caused by human visitation. Today, modern researchers continue studying the island with sophisticated scientific tools and methods. Satellite imaging helps map forgotten agricultural areas. DNA analysis traces migration patterns, and microscopic soil studies reveal information about ancient farming. These methods may eventually help researchers build a better understanding of what happened on this remarkable island. What remains clear, regardless of which theory proves most accurate, is that the Rapa Nui people accomplished something remarkable. They found and settled one of the most isolated places on Earth, survived there for centuries, and created stone monuments without modern machinery. Their achievements required human ingenuity, physical determination, social organization, and knowledge passed between generations. The complex mystery of Easter Island teaches us several important lessons about history and humanity. First, oral traditions that are dismissed as folklore may preserve genuine technical knowledge. Such traditions deserve careful investigation rather than immediate rejection. Second, complex historical events rarely have one simple cause. Societal change may result from environmental pressures, cultural shifts, biological factors, and external forces acting together. Third, human societies can achieve extraordinary engineering and artistic results without advanced technology when they possess organization, patience, and collective determination. Fourth, human resilience is remarkable. Even after severe population loss and environmental difficulties, the Rapa Nui adapted by creating new social structures such as the Birdman cult. Finally, we should remain cautious about making simple conclusions from limited historical evidence, especially when reconstructing events from centuries before written records were available. Now, it is time to expand your vocabulary from today's detailed story. Pay close attention to these 25 words. Monolithic means formed of a single large block of stone. Example, the Moai are massive monolithic figures carved from volcanic ash. Unfathomable means extremely difficult to explore or understand. Example, the early settlers crossed an unfathomable distance of ocean. Erect means to build or set something upright. Example, islanders managed to erect enormous, heavy statues without modern machinery. Contemplative means expressing or involving prolonged thought. Example, the statues have a serene, contemplative expression. Ingenuity means cleverness and skill in solving difficult problems. Example, moving the statues reflects remarkable ancient human ingenuity. Prosperity means the state of being successful or having abundant resources. Example, the statues were believed to ensure agricultural prosperity. Contentious means likely to cause disagreement or intense argument. Example, the ecocide theory remains a highly contentious topic among historians. Deforestation means the widespread clearing of trees from a landscape. Example, severe deforestation may have contributed to a devastating societal collapse. Catastrophic means causing sudden great damage or suffering. Example, the loss of the palm trees was a catastrophic event. Immunity means the body's natural ability to resist a particular disease. Example, the isolated population had no natural immunity to European diseases. Germinate means to begin to grow, especially when referring to a seed. Example, the rats may have eaten the seeds before they could germinate. Undeciphered means not yet successfully translated or understood. Example, Rongorongo remains completely undeciphered. Governance means the process or authority of governing a place or organization. Example, the island remains under the governance of Chile. Erosion means the gradual wearing away of land by natural forces. Example, coastal erosion threatens the ancient monuments. Scarcity means a significant shortage or insufficient supply of something needed. Example, resource scarcity may have contributed to internal conflict. Brooding means appearing dark, serious, or deeply thoughtful. Example, the statues have heavy, brooding brows. Paradigm shifting means causing a fundamental change in the usual way of thinking. Example, the walking experiment was a paradigm-shifting discovery. Fanciful means over-imaginative and unrealistic. Example, The walking tradition was once considered a fanciful legend. Degradation means the process of becoming damaged or reduced in quality. Example, environmental degradation made farming increasingly difficult. Inadvertently means without intention or accidentally. Example, European sailors inadvertently brought diseases to the island. Resilience means the capacity to recover from difficulties. Example, the survival of the Rapa Nui shows incredible resilience. Nuanced means characterized by subtle differences and details. Example, we need a nuanced understanding of the island's history. Enigmatic means difficult to interpret or understand, mysterious. Example, Easter Island remains one of the most enigmatic places on Earth. Please try to use these words in your own original sentences. Writing them down will significantly help you remember them for future use. Now, let's practice speaking together. I will say a sentence, and I want you to repeat after me at a steady pace. Focusing on your rhythm and intonation is very important. Easter Island sits thousands of miles from the nearest continent. The incredible isolation makes this ancient mystery even more fascinating. Polynesian settlers arrived using remarkably sophisticated ocean navigation. They found a small island using only the stars and ocean currents. Nearly 900 massive statues remain scattered across the rugged landscape. Some of these stone giants weigh more than 80 tons. For decades, nobody fully knew how the heavy statues were transported. Modern experiments suggest the statues may have literally walked. This shows that ancient oral traditions can contain valuable historical knowledge. Construction of new statues stopped abruptly several centuries ago. The island underwent a dramatic and difficult cultural transition. Researchers still disagree about what truly caused the population's decline. Environmental damage may have been caused by humans and invasive rats. European disease and slave raids played a tragic and significant role. The society adapted by creating the challenging Birdman Colt competition. An ancient written language remains completely undeciphered today. Modern descendants work hard to preserve their unique ancestral heritage. Coastal erosion remains a serious threat to the ancient monuments. Science helps us build a more accurate picture of the distant past. This remarkable mystery continues fascinating dedicated researchers worldwide. Practice these sentences a few times out loud. Pay attention to how the words link together. This repetition will help improve your pronunciation, your confidence, and your overall fluency at this advanced level. Thank you so much for taking the time to listen to this story today. I hope it helped you practice your English comprehension while exploring one of the world's most fascinating and enduring archaeological mysteries. Now, before we finish, I have a few questions for you to think about. First, considering all the evidence we discussed, which theory about the island's population decline do you find the most convincing, and why? Second, why do you think oral traditions are so frequently dismissed by outside researchers? Finally, if you could travel back in time and ask the original Rapa Nui builders one single question, what would you want to know? Please write your answers in the comments section below. I love reading your perspectives. If you enjoyed this story, please make sure to like the video, share it with a fellow language learner, and subscribe for more high-quality English learning stories. Take care of yourselves, keep learning every day, and I will see you next time.